Welcome back to the Peptide Pulse. I am Dr. Adam Boonder. I am the peptide researcher, and I'm super excited to bring this episode to you today. We're going to be talking about something that, well, everybody talks about. It's probably the most widely talked about peptide stack on the market, the Wolverine Peptide Stack. But we're going to do it with a twist. So if you really want to learn the switch here and really where the real power comes from with this stack, make sure you watch this whole episode. And if you like the information that I've been bringing, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends, your family, people that want to learn real world experiences with peptides. So let's get going. I'm excited. Here we go. All right, guys, your body did not forget how to heal. It just stopped listening. That's right. Think about that for a second. The same body that could bounce back from anything when you were 22, 23 is the exact same body that now takes 3-4 weeks to recover from a workout that, used to just sleep off. Nothing got removed. The repair machinery is still there. The blueprints are still on file. The crew is still on payroll. The signal just got quieter. And the cells got harder of hearing. That's right. They aren't getting the message across. Now, hold this idea, because it's about to flip the most hyped peptide combo on the internet completely on its head. 2 peptides, 1 nickname, millions of views. That's right, the Wolverine stack. BPC-157, TB-500. Athletes swear by it. Clinics get asked about it daily. Comment sections worship this stack. And almost everybody is selling it as the thing that makes you heal faster. Here's the twist that nobody is telling you. The Wolverine stack was never really about speed. It's about whether your body can still hear the message in the first place. And once you get that, you'll never look at peptides the same way again. So here's the thing. Peptides are not hammers. They're messages. A hammer forces things to go or literally breaks things apart. A message actually communicates. And your body is not a machine you beat into submission. It's a communication network. Hormones, neurotransmitters, growth factors, cytokines, all of it is signaling. All of it is a language. It's a language that your body speaks. So when recovery slows down with age, stress, chronic inflammation, here's what's really happening. So listen up. It's usually not the repair system that's broke. It's that the volume on that signal dropped and the cells just stopped responding to it. That's the entire conversation today, not what fixes me. What signal is my body no longer hearing? And can we actually turn that volume back up? The answer is yes. So listen in. Let's go. Welcome to the Peptide Pulse, where science meets transformation. I'm Dr. Adam Boonder, the peptide researcher, and I'm here to decode the latest breakthroughs, demystify therapeutic biotools, and bring real-life stories that, redefine health. Whether you're a clinician, a biooptimizer, or someone ready to unlock peak potential, this is your pulse on the future of biooptimization. Let's dive in. All right, quick ground rule before we go anywhere. Now, this episode is educational only. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not telling you to use anything. I'm not making promises. What I feel my job is, and my passion and my mission, is to help you understand the science and honestly ask better questions than what the comment sections are actually asking, so that you can then go in and ask your questions, because peptides are exciting. You know this. I get stoked about these things. But excitement without education is how people really make expensive and sometimes very dangerous mistakes. So here is my promise to you today. Here's what you're going to actually walk away with in this episode. You'll understand what BPC-157 actually is, what TB-500 actually is, and why they keep getting bottled together in this Wolverine combo. You'll understand the twist, why honestly, the more interesting half of this stack is probably not the half being marketed to you most widely. You're going to want to know that one. Trust me, it's incredible. And you'll understand the one mental model that separates people who use peptides intentionally and intelligently from who are just gambling with their own biology. So here we go. If this is the kind of peptide education that you really wish for and you're the people that really want to understand, subscribe to the Peptide Pulse because this conversation is only going to get bigger. So, why does this matter now? Let's be honest about why this topic exploded. It's not just the cool nickname. Yeah, I mean, I'm a comic book fan. I think the name is pretty awesome. It's that millions of people are tired of being told that their only options are rest, ice, an injection, surgery, or just live with it. My favorite one, oh, you're just getting old. It's okay. It's just supposed to happen. You know this person, maybe you are this person. You're trying rest, you've tried stretching, you've tried PT, you've tried ice, heat, anti-inflammatories, and the classic, just give it time. And quite honestly, guys, I've been that person. In fact, right now I kind of am. I've got a shoulder issue, and it's been nagging for years. And honestly, I feel like nothing is helping it. And to be quite honest, I've tried BPC-157. And TB-500. This stack that we're talking about, I've tried it. And here's the truth. It doesn't always work. I'm being honest with you. It doesn't always work. So it's not a magic bullet. I'm just letting you know this right now. I'm actually getting an MRI to get this checked out. But anyway, neither here nor there. Just know we are all suffering from this together. And right now, we're still standing here thinking there has to be a more advanced conversation than just, hey, just rest, just stretch, all these things. This is not someone chasing a shortcut. It's someone looking for hope with a framework. And that's exactly what we're really going to be building today. I mean, again, I'm not trying to chase a shortcut. I'm actually trying to advance restoration within this shoulder, just like you probably are. But here's the big misunderstanding. That's right, listen in. Here's where most everyone gets the Wolverine stack wrong. They treat it like a healing potion. Take it, heal faster, and done. But people don't add a repair system you don't have. You can't just add it. You may influence a repair system you already own. That is the goal. Influence the repair system that you already own. So the question really was never, can this peptide fix me? The real question is, what signal is my body missing? And which system needs the support? That single reframe is the difference between hype and strategy. I want to bring you strategy, less hype. So, what is this Wolverine stack? What actually is it? All right, here we go. We're going to dive into this. I'm going to bring you some fun research. Let's just kind of go into this here, okay? So, at the simplest level, the Wolverine stack is really just the nickname for combining two peptides, BPC-157 and TB-500. The name is a nod in the really comic book character, if you don't know it, and the Wolverine character is known for healing literally from anything. Yeah, it's punchy, it's memorable, and obviously it's a marketer's dream. And that's exactly why we have to strip the hype off and look at the actual molecules. So let's dive into this. This is where it gets fun. First, BPC-157. So BPC stands for Body Protection Compound. It's a peptide sequence originally derived from a protective protein found in gastric juices. That's right, in your gut. Your gut, which means you have it. It's in the gut. We all have guts, so there we go. Yeah, never mind, I was going to go off on a tangent, but I'm not. What's fascinating about this is really because, it really ties this molecule to the gut environment, to tissue protection signaling, and to the body's internal communication systems. So in preclinical research, BPC-157 has been studied for pathways related to tissue response, gut barrier models, blood vessel signaling and angiogenesis, tendon and ligament models, inflammatory signaling, and wound models. So there's a lot here. Listen to the language. It's been studied, explored in preclinical models. Research suggests it's there. That matters because most of the BPC-157 evidence is mechanistic and animal-based, not large-scale human trials. That doesn't make it meaningless, though. It means we read it like adults, not like a sales page. So I just want to share some research. This is incredible. So we have BPC-157 with tendon and ligament repair. Yes, this was a rat model, in vitro tendon cells. Okay, so This is like in a petri dish is what it's looking at. But what this found is rats with a surgically cut Achilles tendons, yeah, I know it's research, healed better on BPC-157 across all biomechanical pathways, functional microscopic measures versus what they had as a saline control. So they'd either inject BPC-157 or saline. So this was a rat study, cut tendon, healing measured over 2 weeks. The treated tendons came out mechanically stronger. So that what it's showing is that's promising. Yes, it's a rat, but you know what? The truth is, it still helped. Another one, BPC-157, angiogenesis, nitric oxide. This is really fascinating. This is a study done in Nature. It's the modulatory effects of BPC-157 over vasomotor tone and the activation of eNOS pathways, okay? Endothelial nitric oxide pathways. So why would a gut peptide help a tendon? Why would it help angiogenesis? So why? One answer keeps showing up, blood flow. That's right, blood flow. New vessels mean oxygen, nutrients reach that repair site. BPC keeps touching the nitric oxide and the VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, signaling that builds those vessels. Again, I can go on and on. There's gut barrier, gastric origins. This stuff is incredible. And yes, I know there really does. There needs to be more human trials. But what I'm telling you is the research is research. It's showing and it's very promising. So let's get into TB-500. Okay, TB-500 is usually discussed as a synthetic fragment connected to thymosin beta-4, a peptide your body actually makes on its own. Thymosin beta-4 has been studied for cell migration, actin regulation, tissue remodeling, wound repair signaling, inflammatory balance, and so much more. The truth is, here's the part that I really want you to hold on to, actin regulation. And guys, I'm not acting here. I'm telling you the truth. See what I did there? Little dad joke plugged in there. Actin regulation. Actin is part of the internal scaffolding of your cells. It's what holds things together, their structure and the full movement system on a cellular level. When tissue is stressed, your body needs cells to move, organize, communicate, and rebuild. That's the conversation thymosin beta-4 research really keeps pointing towards. So when we start to look at the research on thymosin beta-4, TB-500, what do we look at? Actin cell migration. So here we go, another study, PubMed. You can go find these research studies anywhere. I tell people, just go look for them. It binds G-actin 1-to-1, holding a ready pool of actin monomers. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to get too much into that science. Let's just go into this. Actin is the cell scaffold. It's its legs. It's what really gets it moving. TB-500's parent molecule, which is that thymosin beta-4, keeps a reserve of building blocks ready for repair. So when the move signal actually comes, or that new vascularity comes, say from, I don't know, BPC-157, the cells can actually go. That's the road crew in our whole analogy. Where's this power coming from, guys? We all think of BPC-157. Here's the twist. Okay, you've been sold the wrong half. All right? Here is the twist. You've been sold the wrong half. And I believe this emphatically. I'm very excited here because this is where we're going to get into fun. Here's how the stack really gets marketed. BPC-157 is the star, the healer, the hero molecule. TB-500 is that sidekick that you add for just a little extra boost. I'd argue it's actually backwards. Because if recovery slowing down is really a signaling and responsiveness problem, a cell's stopped listening problem, then the more interesting question isn't how do we send a louder repair message locally? It's can the cells even move? Can they reorganize and respond when the message actually arrives? Right? We've got to accept the message. And that cell movement, remodeling, getting the right cells to the right place is exactly the territory the thymosin beta-4 conversation lives in. BPC-157 may help shape that local message. TB-500's pathway is about whether the body can actually act on it. What is the key to success, guys? It's action. Can something actually act on it? So the popular framing, BPC, the hero, TB, the sidekick, might have the spotlight pointed at the wrong answer. That's right. So let's figure this out. Now, to be crystal clear, this is a way of thinking about biology and not a ranking of what's better, and definitely not a recommendation. Both are still largely preclinical, but this framework is why the stack is more interesting than just the nickname suggests. So the construction site, this is where I want to go into this. And I want to make this simple for you so that you can really understand. So we're going to think of a construction site. Let's make this stupidly simple. All right, the KISS method. Keep it simple, silly. That's right, I changed that word. I don't like to call anybody names. So let's make this simple in one picture. Your body is a construction site. BPC-157 is like the site manager. It doesn't physically do every single job. It coordinates. It looks at the damaged area, calls attention to what needs support, helps organize the response. That's the local signaling role people discuss it for. I mean, really, TB-500 is like the road crew, because a site manager with no roads, well, is useless. You need access, you need flow, you need workers and supplies able to actually get to the site. That's the cell migration and remodeling conversation. But here's the line that matters most. The body is the builder. Peptides are just the messages on the radio. They don't pour the concrete. They may help the crew hear where to go, and if anybody's listening to the radio, it doesn't matter how good the message is, which is why your cells went deaf, is the real story, not heal like Wolverine. So, the research. Here we go. This is what it actually suggests. I've already given you some of this. Let's slow down, because this is where, honestly, both sides of the internet really embarrassing themselves. I mean, that's what they're doing. They don't really know what they're talking about. Sorry, I'm calling you out here. One side said, hey, this is the greatest thing ever invented. The other says, there's zero research. It's snake oil. Both are wrong. The truth is more interesting than ever. In fact, then you have the side of the story that says, well, I'm not going to get into that they don't even work at all. Interesting when they say that, because, well, our body actually produces them. How do they not work? So, there is research, but the type of research is the whole point. We have preclinical studies, mechanistic studies, animal models, wound healing models, tendon and tissue models, gut barrier models, angiogenesis models, that's new blood vessel growth, and for thymosin beta-4, cell migration, actin binding, tissue repair, cardiac, and ocular surface models. You know, what are largely, and what they largely do not have yet, is, well, a stack of big gold standard human clinical trials for every use case that people post about online. So, you know, I've already gone through these because I get super excited about research. I mean, I am the peptide researcher. I talk about that, and I've read some of these to you. But here's the thing. You know, when we start looking at these, I've talked about BPC for the gut models. And don't worry, we're going to make sure that these research studies are down there. And again, don't forget, if you're liking this information so far, please subscribe to my channel, because we have so much more of this stuff coming. And but you know, when we get into this from BPC, nitric oxide activation, eNOS, endothelial nitric oxide. So really where that works, which is really, really cool, is like your vascular system. It really works with help with blood vessels and everything there, which is why, again, when you get more vascularity, it helps with the body healing. So I want to go a little bit more, though, into the thymosin beta-4. You know, I was talking about specifically that with actin cell migration. We talk about tissue repair, cardiac. Here's a big one on cardiac, and the landmark specifically on that. So when we look at this, this is kind of the breakdown. Now this is on a mouse model, coronary artery. So this is where we're talking about this, cultured cardiomyocytes. So meaning in a petri dish, they cultured these. But what did this show? What did thymosin beta-4 do for tissue repair? So this one was run in Nature article, and this is a very top journal. Just, you can look it up, Nature 2004. So this one ran in Nature. It's a top journal. we're looking at the same peptide families, but I'm going to start here with this. So this one ran in Nature, a top peptide journal, same peptide family, but now in heart tissue after a heart attack in a mouse. All right, so heart attack in a mouse, yes, not human, I know. The fingerprint is consistent though, meaning relative to what we're doing here. They help cells move, help cells survive, help cells support repair. What ended up happening is it showed that actin migration aided in the repair of obviously the high-stake tissue, meaning that cardiac tissue. So it increased that tissue repair. Another one on this, so evidence limitation, this is where we really get into some of this I'm just reading a lot of these. Where am I at here? 2025 systematic review of approximately 36 studies found that BPC-157 evidence is based in overwhelmingly on preclinical. Again, mostly rats, large from smaller cluster of labs, and very limited human clinical data. I'm not trying to say that there's a bunch of human clinical data here. I'm just letting you know that there is a lot of migration, meaning that it shows here, which means it's giving us a lot of hope of what it can do. Now, why don't we have more human clinical trials? And I've talked about this in other episodes. Well, it's economic, it's monetary. When something is already within our system, you can't really patent produce something that is already made within you. It's very hard to do. So BPC-157, obviously talk about not being FDA approved. There's a lot of things that are changing here in the industry coming up July of 2026, but that's okay. That's a whole other episode. So when we start looking at this, just know the animal data is real and consistent. So when people say that there's no research, just ask them the type of research. They should actually be specific in saying what type of research. The human proof, a lot of it is still missing. A lot of it's anecdotal. So again, I'm just being real with you. Anyone promising you a specific human result, you just, honestly, you can't. So again, we don't promise. And even with this, it's our hope that we get. Now, is there a lot of anecdotal? Is there a lot of people out there that are having results with these products? Absolutely. You cannot miss that. You can't cut that out because it is happening. And so just know the truth on that one. When we start getting into thymosin beta 4, which I think is, again, a beautiful one, I think that I really want you to start to focus on its power within this play. So research doesn't have to be exaggerated, honestly, to be exciting. The fact that tiny chains of amino acids can influence truly complex signaling networks in the human body is already incredible. We don't need to turn it into, well, fairy dust. We just need to explain it better. That's why I'm trying to bring this information to you. What clinicians and consumers each need to really hear right now, number one, as a clinician, like your patients are already asking about these things. The win isn't memorizing protocols. It's being able to interpret preclinical evidence honestly and explain it without overpromising. That's the truth. The provider who can say, here's what this model showed, here's what this research shows, and obviously also what it didn't. That's what providers are supposed to do for patients to build their trust and obviously bring something, that's truthful. If you're a provider who wants a real framework for bringing peptide education into your practice responsibly with systems, confidence, compliance built in, all of that, that's exactly what we build. That's what we help people with. That's why I'm bringing this information to you specifically. Now, if you're a consumer or a biooptimizer, peptides are not permission to skip the fundamentals. If you're sleeping 4 hours, under eating protein, drinking too much, and ignoring your rehab plan or whatever it may be, eating McDonald's every day, you don't have a peptide problem. And honestly, peptide isn't going to be your solution. You have a foundation problem. Sleep, protein, hydration, minerals, movement quality, load management. What are you lifting? A real diagnosis or a real process. Peptides may be a part of a bigger conversation, never a replacement for the basics. So always be curious. Please, always be curious. Always ask questions. It's a great thing. Recklessness, that's not a good thing. So let's talk about who should pump the brakes. So when you start looking at products like this, we're talking about the Wolverine stack, and We talk about BPC-157. We talk about TB-500. I'm excited because we've kind of shown the real champion in this. But in all honesty, who should be pumping the brakes on this? Pregnancy, breastfeeding individuals should be, not experimenting with these things. Anyone with active cancers, concerns of cancer, oncology history, they need medical oversight, not just self-direction. Please, please, please. Complex autoimmune histories need clinical guidance. People on multiple medications need a real, actual person to be reviewing what they're doing. Don't just jump into this. Anybody heading into surgery needs their actual surgical clearance, medical team to be involved, to know what they're on. These are all little nuances. We hear, just do this, it's going to help. No, have guidance. Anyone buying mystery vials off of a random website, should stop. Think very hard about what you're actually putting into your body, because it's not always what's in that vial. Curiosity is good. Recklessness is not. I want you curious. I want clinicians educated. I want patients asking sharper questions. I do not want you injecting something from a sketchy website because a 30-second clip made it sound cool. That's not optimization, that's gambling. The biggest mistakes I see, chasing the nickname. A viral post is not a medical history. Buying from unknown sources, sourcing, testing, purity, sterility, storage, all of this matters. Thinking more is better. In clinical strategy, precision beats volume every single time. Ignoring diagnostics. Is it tendon, ligament, nerve, load, inflammation, sleep, hormones? Peptides don't replace thinking. They demand better thinking. Skipping the fundamentals. The foundation is the multiplier. Eat, sleep, drink, move. No provider oversight. Access is not the same thing as wisdom. So here are some practical takeaways I really want you to have with this. The Wolverine stack is interesting because of signaling, not because of the nickname. BPC-157 is studied for more local tissue and repair signaling pathways. TB-500, thymosin beta-4, is studied for cell movement, remodeling, and broader coordination. The marketed hero and sidekick framing may have the spotlight backwards. Most of the evidence is still preclinical. Read it like an adult, okay? Not like an influencer is just telling you something. The body is the builder. Peptides are the message. Responsiveness is everything. So, in closing, here is my final word. Yes, I said closing. Do not leave because this is the most important part right here. So, here's the big takeaway. The Wolverine stack didn't blow up because of a nickname. It blew up because people are hungry for a smarter way to think about recovery. Your body did not forget how to heal. It just got harder to reach. And the future of recovery may not be about forcing the body harder. It may be about understanding the messages the body can no longer hear and whether you can help it listen again. If this helped you see the Wolverine stack beyond the hype, please subscribe to the Peptide Pulse. Send it to someone who keeps hearing about BPC-157 and TB-500 but never got the real story. And drop a comment right down here. That's right. Drop a comment in the peptide, and drop a comment with the peptide you want. Man, let me reread that real quick. Man, I got really confused in that. It's right above. Oh, here, I'll just start with send. Oh, there it is. Perfect. If this helped you see the Wolverine stack beyond the hype, subscribe to the Peptide Pulse. Please send it to somebody who keeps hearing about BPC-157 and TB-500 but never got the real story. And drop a comment with the peptide you want me to break down next time. Because next time, we're walking into the biggest peptide conversation on the planet, GLPs. That's right, the big GLPs. These products that have been named and these peptides that have been made mainstream for weight loss, but almost nobody understands what actually happened and what actually opened the door. We're going past the headlines, past the weight loss talk, and into the real revolution of what GLPs actually are. I'm Dr. Adam Boonder, the peptide researcher. This is the Peptide Pulse, where science meets life-changing potential. I'll see you in the next episode. This content is for educational purposes only and not medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider before making decisions about peptides, medications, or any treatments.